you so much for hanging out with me today.
Of course.
I've actually had a really good time already. We've been hanging out for hours now.
Yes.
So we went and had some coffee at Starbucks.
It's delicious.
Yeah. Dealt with them at the Starbucks place. We couldn't film there, so we relocated to Prem Bistro.
Yes,
is where we're at now.
Favorite places.
Yeah, so we actually met here a couple months ago and had dinner, which was delicious. In this exact same spot. So we got to talking and wanted to have a conversation, an interview about your experience here in Vietnam. And I think you have a really great perspective of the experience here and coming and doing something so different than what people are doing, even from your hometown, but also just in general. So thank you so much for coming and agreeing to interview with me. This is my first interview and your first interview as well. Yes. So let's get started.
Okay.
So what brought you, first of all, to the decision to come and live abroad and take on this challenge of being an English teacher in Asia, in Southeast Asia?
Teaching and living abroad is something I had been wanting to do for some time. I have a degree in elementary education, so teaching is kind of a passion of mine. So I knew I've always wanted to be a teacher, just being able to help impact a child's life and to help them grow as an individual and give back is something that I'm very passionate about. So for me, teaching is something that I've known I've always wanted to do. And then I've always had a bad case of wanderlust. When I was younger, about 8 years old, I went to France with my dad. We lived there for about 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. You didn't tell me that. Okay.
He had a girlfriend who lived out there at the time, and he thought we were going to locate out there permanently, but it ended up not working out. But so like my time there was very impactful for me, just to kind of be immersed in another culture. And since then, I kind of knew that I wanted to go see what the world was like outside of my town in Missouri. And so in college, I started to think about ways that I could incorporate both my passion for teaching and then also a way to travel. So I did some research and I came across teaching abroad, and I came across the Ninja Teacher channel, and it just seemed like the perfect combination for me of both being able to teach and being able to travel. And so
awesome.
Yeah, that's how I came about it.
Okay, great. And that's how a lot of people come about it is through the YouTube videos and things like that. So walk me through a little bit, because we didn't really talk about this a whole lot. Walk me through your steps of, I'm looking for this solution to be able to teach and live abroad, to going through the process of finding Ninja Teacher. Was it just an easy thing that you stumbled across on YouTube, or were there other channels that you kind of looked to that led you to that path?
I'd say I did a lot of research. I looked through multiple different companies that were offering TESOL certification. A lot of them were online though, and that was kind of something that I was uneasy or didn't really think that was something I wanted to do, just because those programs, you would get a TESOL certification online, and then they would set you up with a job contract ahead of time before you had arrived into the country. And for me, that was a little bit scary, just because I didn't know exactly what I was going to get myself into. So I kind of knew that teaching abroad was something I wanted to do, but I didn't want to go through that outlet of having the online certification. So then I kept doing more and more research, and eventually, I did stumble across the videos online, and they were immensely helpful, just because I felt like the videos really did give me a bird's eye view into what living in Vietnam here in Vietnam is like. And then they started talking about the TESOL course and how it's in-class TESOL course, and that you're able to immerse yourself in the culture while you're learning and taking the course for being a teacher. So that was just the perfect combination for me.
Yeah, and that's honestly what a lot of people say, and it makes the jump to take the leap seem more attainable than just coming over and doing it yourself.
Yeah.
So once you made the decision to do that and went through the whole process, you showed up, you got here, you went through the training. What has it been like since you made that decision into today? Because you've been here since September.
Yes.
So how many months is that? Doing math here, 9 months? Is that 9 months?
October, November, December, January. Almost 5 months.
Oh, 5 months, okay. So 5 months here in. How are you feeling about life now and living abroad, and what your picture of it was when you first decided to do this? Are you happy with your decision?
Of course.
Were you pleasantly surprised about certain things? And what has been like biggest challenge for you?
Okay. I mean, coming here, is definitely going to be a bit of a challenge. Things are different, and it's going to be a culture shock. But I mean, it was a very good learning experience. It opened my horizons to new things, and it pushed me to go outside of my comfort zone, which is, I felt like at home I would just stick to what I was used to doing and had a routine that I did every day, and this pushed me to do something new with my life and to push those barriers and to go out on my own exploring and to talk to people I've never met before and things like that. So it was hard at first, but I mean, I was with a group of people in the TESOL course who were there to support me the whole time, and I never felt like, even though sometimes I was alone, that I was didn't have anyone that I could not go to for support or anything like that. So
that felt like it made it a little better, easier transition?
Yeah, definitely. Coming through the organization, I felt like I had a network of people that I could always reach out to if there was anything that I ever needed. So I never felt like there was nothing that I couldn't reach out to people about or anything like that.
Just coming into a community that maybe you're going to make friends, maybe you're not, but it's a community that you can say, oh, if I do need something or need a support system, I bet this person or that person maybe knows.
Yeah.
Makes that transition even another tick off the box to say, okay, that's another reason that it's a barrier, right? Because you're not doing it alone. So good. And then what has been like the biggest challenge for you so far over the last almost 6 months that you've been here?
The biggest challenge I feel like maybe is just the language barrier, both working and going about everyday life, but it's nothing that stops me from going about my everyday. There's other ways that you can, communicate with people through facial expressions, body language, Google Translate, all those things. I mean, it's nothing that you can't overcome. It makes, maybe everyday life tasks a little harder, but, that's just a part of living in Vietnam, and I feel like it makes me appreciate things that, more, that I'm able to accomplish a small task maybe that I took for granted. At home here is more of an accomplishment for me when, like setting up a bank account, you don't think that would be something that would be a big accomplishment at home, but here it was a challenge, but now that it's all set up and done,
Yeah, it's kind of like almost you're relearning your life skills, right?
Yes.
Like that's kind of what I feel like. Same situation to you. It's like all those little like success stories are like, oh, I did this, but I did it in Vietnam, so it's even more of a success story. Do you have something that you can share that would be like you said, opening a bank account? What other types of things do you feel like are those like little success stories that you've accomplished in being here?
Maybe signing a lease and finding a house.
Okay.
Not as easy as one might think, but we did it, and it wasn't that hard, but just to be able to have our own place to live.
Right.
It was definitely an accomplishment.
Yeah. And that's, of course, another life skill, right? Like back home, you just know how to do it.
Yeah.
When you come in and you're living in a different culture, the rules are different. You're playing a completely different game, so to speak. So you have to figure out what the rules are for that game. And I know exactly how you feel. Even just transportation, for instance.
Yes.
That's a huge success story when you get on the back of a grab bike for the first time.
Yeah. I remember
How did you feel the first time you did it?
I was so scared before, just looking at the traffic, well, especially in Govat, because that's where I first lived, and it's crazy out there, so was a little intimidated to get on one, but once I did, I realized there was nothing to be scared of. It's actually a nice freeing feeling when you're on one. I like it.
Yeah, I know, it really is.
I prefer to be on a motorbike now versus in a what I mean, because it's slower and it's more expensive, so.
Right, exactly. There are huge advantages to taking the bike. What was I going to say about that? Oh, the first time you got on the back of the bike, was it a celebrated success?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, little things I think in my mind, okay, you know, I just did this. What can I do next? You know, I can do anything.
It is. It's like a tally mark. Yeah, I got on the bike. Whew. I got a place to live. Whew. I got a job. So going through all those motions, and that's part of adjusting to living abroad. So the next step after finishing the course, finding a job. Tell me how you went about that process. What was your experience like?
So through the course, they did assist us with finding jobs. So they would set us up with different interviews with different companies, and I had 3 different interviews. They were kind of different, the interview process. Some you would do a demo lesson, and some you wouldn't. And then one I had to take a knowledge test for to make sure I was capable for the job.
What kind of knowledge test?
It was kind of like I think it was kind of like the IELTS test that they give for people wanting to go abroad and speak English, but just to see your proficiency, like speaking English. So I had to take that so they knew I knew how to speak English. So it wasn't hard or anything, but I just thought that was interesting. So
testing you in your own language, right?
Yes. So I had those 3 interviews, and then I decided to go with Maple Bear. So it's a private kindergarten. It's a Canadian-based school. I do work a lot, Monday through Friday, around 40 plus hours a week.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I am working a lot, but it's nice because I do have the weekends off, which kind of wasn't an option with a lot of other jobs I'd looked at, where it was more nights and weekends. So that is one plus, that I'm able to kind of have those 2 days off to plan maybe little trips or things like that.
How are you feeling about moving forward with that type of work schedule? Is that your goal to continue down that path, or what's next for you? What's next in the Karlie show?
Well, I do work a lot, over 40 hours a week, and it seems to be a little bit too much for me, just because I feel like I go to work during the day and then maybe have time to go to yoga and eat after, and that's about all I have energy to do with my day after work. And I don't want my whole life to be centered around work while I'm out here, so I feel like that maybe in the future I might have to reevaluate what I want to do as far as in terms of a job. But just because I feel like I work a lot and I spend a lot of time outside of my work schedule focusing on work, when there's other things that I came out here that I'm passionate about doing as well, that I would like to focus my time on too, that feel like they're on the back burner currently. So I want to be able to maybe work a little bit less so I can try to balance my time better.
Right. Yeah, and so we talked a little bit about that as far as your blog, which is how I reached out to you. Again, obviously knowing you through Ninja Teacher, but I saw your blog and it was very inspiring to me. You have a great voice, so you mentioned that you want to start working on that a little bit more and developing what that's going to look like for you in the future. So tell me a little bit about that process for you.
Okay, so far I've kind of...
And what's the name of it again?
Exploring Educator.
Exploring Educator,
yes.
Okay, which is super cute.
Thanks. So right now I've kind of talked about why I wanted to come out here, just so people could kind of understand where I'm coming from and my motivations for wanting to live out here, because it's not something that people typically do outside of going to college. So it was a little different than people that I surrounded myself with at the time were doing. So a lot of people were asking me about it, so I thought that I would start a blog about my experiences here, so I was able to share them with everyone, and so they could kind of get an idea of what my life is like here.
Which is amazing. Yeah. That's really cool. The first couple entries that you posted, I'm a blog hunter. I love reading blogs and just hearing people's different voices, and your voice really stuck out to me, again, which is why I reached out to you. But just the way that your mindset about being here and taking everything in a positive stride, I think is a really important message to share with people. Obviously, you've had your challenges. What do you feel like has been your biggest challenge? You mentioned the language barrier. Do you have any like specific examples of things people might run into that would be a deterrence of somebody wanting to come and do this, or just in general?
Other challenges, I mean, you're going to be lonely at times, you know. You're going to be taking yourself outside of everything that is comfortable and all your friends and your family, and you're moving to a completely foreign country where you don't know anyone, and so, you know, you're not always going to be surrounded with friends and family, but I found that to be very beneficial for me, at least. For me, I've learned a lot about myself in the process, and I'm able to grow as an individual and figure out how many things I can do on my own without the help of anyone else. So I think that's kind of maybe something that deters people from coming to live abroad, maybe, is that they're going to be on their own and that they're going to be really lonely.
Yeah.
But you might be on your own sometimes, but I feel like that's important for you to grow, and it's not like you're by yourself all the time. I've met many wonderful people while I've been out here. So I don't think that should stop anyone from coming here, especially going through Ninja Teacher, as they set you up with a huge community that you can meet up with.
Yeah, there's literally so many things going on all the time. Even just not things we organize, just things that other members organize on their own, and maybe we don't even know about all the time, you know? So yeah, you have that built-in friendship. So that helps with that barrier. What would you say is the biggest thing or area you've seen yourself grow in this short amount of time being here? I shouldn't say short. 6 months, like once you get to that 6-month mark, that's another tick off the box. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen other people post like in the community in our group that they're like 6 months or 1 year. So not a short period of time, but what do you think what's the biggest area you've seen yourself grow that you maybe were surprised at, or hoping for, or anticipating?
It's hard to just put it on one thing, because I feel like I've grown in so many ways, but maybe just, I feel like I've become more mindful since being out here. I've really been able to just slow down life. I don't always have to be on the go. I'm doing this, and this, and then, you know, if I'm busy, then I'm happy. Sometimes it's nice to just walk around aimlessly, or, you know, sit at a coffee shop for hours, just people watching, and really take in the beauty around you, and just sitting with my own thoughts. I feel like when I'm just able to sit down and enjoy life, that I am a happier person. And so maybe in that way, and being more independent, where I'm more comfortable walking up to people I don't know, having conversations with them, or just going out and doing things on my own, you know, trying new things in places that I probably wouldn't have done any of those things prior to coming out here. So it's really helped me to kind of get outside my shell and push the limits of my comfort zone.
That's awesome. And do you feel like it's been an environment that, you know, like we mentioned already, encouraged that, but allowed you to be that person? Because we're both from the U.S., so in the U.S., people are very independent driven, and they're very just go about their business, right? We're living here in Saigon. You get that a little bit, but it's mostly from other foreigners, right? So you could walk up to any other Vietnamese group of people, and they would willingly accept you into their little party and have dinner with you and feed you beers or what have you. And it just makes it's a very welcoming or a very welcoming society.
Yes.
I always say the Vietnamese are one person or one people. And it holds so true. They're just so very welcoming. So do you find that on a regular basis that helps you get outside of your shell, like you said, to go talk to just anybody? Because anybody will talk to you.
Definitely. That's something I was a little nervous about, I would say, coming here was I wasn't sure how the past with the U.S. and Vietnam would affect the way people saw me or treated me, but I found that to not be a problem at all, and that people here are some of the most friendly people I've ever met. I could walk down the street and people I've never met before will say hello to me, or if they can tell I'm lost, they'll come and try to help me find my way. Or there was an instance where I burned my leg on a motorbike, and
oh no, I didn't know that either. Oh my god.
About a month or so ago. So it was a really bad day actually, but
oh no.
It was a learning experience, so that's what matters. So I lost my keys, so I was on the hunt to find new keys.
Keys to your house?
Yes.
Okay. How does that happen?
I don't know. Well, to find out, there was a hole in my backpack, so.
Oh no.
Well, like a secret compartment, so there was a hole in the bottom, but then there was like another compartment underneath. So I actually had the keys with me the whole time, in the long run, but anyway,
Are you serious?
Yeah, I was really mad after going through all this trouble.
Now?
So, anyways, I thought I had lost my keys, even though I really hadn't, and so I was searching all around town to go find a place to go get a key made.
From one of your roommates?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So I took a motorbike to this place I found online that had a keysmith. But I got there right before they closed, or right after they closed. So as soon as I got off the bike, I was so like focused on like getting my keys done and like frustrated that I accidentally hit the muffler with my leg when getting off. I should have got off on the other side.
You just weren't thinking.
Yeah. I hurt my leg a little bit.
Did you have to go to the hospital or like the clinic or anything?
I didn't, but actually, so what I was gonna say is the people I go to the gym with, they're some of the friendliest people I've met. They were messaging me on Facebook that night, asking me about my day. When I told them what happened, they're like, "Oh my gosh, like you need to come into the gym tomorrow. Like we're gonna take care of you." And like they like put a bandage on my leg and like gave me all this medicine for my leg and like made sure I was okay and like.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, exactly.
Over an hour they were there with me just to like console me about what I should do to fix it and everything like that. So.
In the US, you would never go to your gym and say, "Hey, I burned my leg on a motorbike. Can you help me?" Yeah. No, they would laugh at you.
Yeah.
But here you go to your gym and what happens?
They insisted. Like
they insisted
you have to come here and we will make sure that you are okay. Like
That's so incredible.
So I mean, to begin with, it was not a good day, but in the end, it was a good experience because it showed me how truly caring the Vietnamese people are. I mean, that's just one example of things like that have happened to me. Everything's a learning experience, good or bad. You know, there's no growth without struggle. There's no growth. So
absolutely. And here you definitely get that on a daily basis. Yeah. Okay, so let's backtrack a little bit. Okay. Getting up to the decision of, you went to college, made the decision that you wanted to do something different, teach abroad, and be an educator. What about your upbringing or just your development as a child in general, let's say, made you want to be a teacher? Was that something that you always sought out, or what were you like as a kid?
As a kid, I was very shy, I would say, and kind of closed off to other people. So I feel like, but I always enjoyed going to school a lot. I wouldn't say that I had the best maybe background growing up, but I always enjoyed going to school, and that was something that I always looked forward to. And I know that impacted me a lot, and so that was something that I thought about, maybe that's something I want to do in the future. And then going throughout high school, I started doing cadet teaching and working with kids, and then I realized that I was able to connect with them really well, and that not only are they learning from me, but I learn things every day from them. So it felt like something that I could do every day and wake up and have a purpose. I'm not just solely going to work to make money. I'm going to do something that I can give back to other people and that is mutually beneficial.
That's awesome. Yeah. I think the majority of people that come through our programs, they really do have that, they just want to help people. And if in turn that helps them as well, helping other people succeed in their goals, in turn helps them succeed in their own personal goals, right? So I think that's really important to note that is something that most people have, and that's how you easily connect with people when you come abroad through the community, is that you all kind of have that level playing field of the base of where your mind is.
Yeah. I feel like when I came here, I met people from all over the world. We came from different backgrounds, but we did have one, commonality together, was that, we had a similar mindset of coming out here to, help children or help, teach people and give back. And so I think that's something that's very cool, how you can meet someone who's totally different than you, but you can find always one thing that you have in common with them.
Right. And you just find fast friends. Yeah. Like, you're almost friends instantly within the first week. You already know, oh, we're friends. Yeah. That's it. Like, you don't have to go through the whole friend building process. You just already have that baseline, basically, that we're on such the same wavelength that you just say, okay, you're my friend now. That kind of happened to me in the program as well. I became really good friends with a couple girls that were in my class, and we've remained friends this whole time. So I know you've roomed with a couple different people from your program. Yes. Can you tell me what that living situation has been like, and because we get that question a lot, is like, where am I going to live? Just like you said, it's a tick off the box of life success. How did that all come to be?
So I live with 2 other girls and 1 guy. We all live in, I'd say, a French style house where it's the kitchen and the living space on the bottom, and then each floor is a bedroom. It's in D1, so it's not far from here. It's next to the city center, and it's close to my work. But it's also in a local neighborhood, which was kind of important for us to find somewhere we could live and immerse ourselves in the culture versus just like a big apartment complex in D2 or somewhere like that. Yeah. So that was important for us to be somewhere more local and get a feel for the culture more. So my friend Travis, he found a realtor through Facebook. There's a lot of different Facebook groups that offer forums for looking for housing, and then you can kind of just connect with people through that way.
Which is much different than back home, right? Yes. That's one huge thing, is another life skill that you quickly learn, is to utilize Facebook for the right reasons.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so.
But it was helpful, and so we went through a realtor there, and we looked at a couple different houses. It was a little difficult finding a house for 4 people within our budget. But we eventually found this house, and we love it now. I have my own little window seat. That's my favorite part.
That's awesome.
It's close to everything, and it's a place to live, so.
Awesome. Yeah, I've seen a few pictures here and there. You guys really hit the jackpot on that one. It looks like a really great setup. So speaking of the window seat, do you find yourself doing like a lot of your blog writing there, or where do you mostly contribute time to your blog?
I like to do it in my room, by the window seat, but sometimes I feel like being in my own room is a little distracting. I'll just get off and do something else, but I like to go to coffee shops a lot, or little cafes. This is one of my favorite places to go, or there's a lot of different places in D3. I like this area a lot that I'll go to.
Yeah, are we in D3 or D1? They're so close, sometimes certain places I don't even know. I think this is D3, right?
I think so.
Okay, all right. We'll plug it later, I guess. I don't know. Awesome. So this is one place, and this is where we had lunch as well. Prim Bistro, vegetarian place. Yes. You're not officially vegetarian, but you love this place anyways.
Yes.
Okay, cool. What has the food and just eating here in general been like for you? Because that's another question we get a lot about, what's the food like? A lot of people think that there's no Western food here, that you're just eating, rice and noodles all day, every day, which you can if you want to. Yeah. But what has your experience been like with that?
Well, I think the food here is delicious. I mean, it's some of the best food I've ever had. I love all the street food here. It's amazing.
Yeah, what is your favorite? If you know how to pronounce it.
I try.
Just butcher it. It's okay. I probably don't
Bun thit nuong.
That's a common one. That's my favorite too. I'm not even gonna try because I'm pretty sure it's bun thit nuong. Yeah, but Alex will probably look at the video and be like, nope, it'll. Yeah, that's my favorite too.
That or banh mi's are always a go-to for me, especially in the morning before going to work.
Yeah. Do you get the opla?
Yes.
Yes.
Egg.
Yeah.
Or bát chien is very good as
I don't
well.
know what that one is.
It's fried rice cakes with egg.
Oh, I've never had that.
It's really good.
I've seen it, but I've never had it.
It kind of reminds me of a breakfast dish, like hash brown and eggs, but it's rice
like
cakes.
Like a McGriddle or something.
Yeah, kind of.
Like a Vietnamese McGriddle.
But I mean, I think
Awesome.
the food here is delicious, and there's so many different options, whether you want street food or, going to a local restaurant, or there's tons of Western food here. So I don't think that will be a problem for anyone, especially in Ho Chi Minh. There's something for everyone. There's millions of different options of restaurants. I try to find somewhere new to go every weekend because the options are literally endless. So
do you try to stick to more Vietnamese style food, or do you find yourself eating more Western food?
I try, to stick to more local Vietnamese food, just because I think it tastes great and it's cheaper.
And
it's
way less expensive.
And it's convenient. So
cool, awesome. Yeah, bun thit nuong.
Yes.
So we talked about your blog and teaching English. And so moving forward, with all those things in mind, what's next in 2019 for Miss Karlie? Do you hope to stay the same route? Do you have other things that you're wanting to pursue? Things like that.
Well, in 2019, definitely traveling is at the top of the list. I definitely want to take advantage of my situation and go to as many places as I can, not only within Vietnam, but other countries. I'm going to Thailand in a couple of weeks with some friends over at Tet, so that'll be amazing.
That's awesome.
I'm really excited. So that, and I do want to try to focus less time on working and more into my hobbies, so focusing more time on my blog and yoga and things like that.
That's right, you do a lot of yoga.
Yes.
Yes, that was another thing I saw on your Instagram, which we're going to be doing here in a little bit. Hopefully we fit some time in to get a little yoga lesson from you. So where do you see yourself moving forward in that regard then with 2019 and how that looks different for you from 2018 to now, let's say?
Possibly, changing jobs. I love my job now, but I think maybe it doesn't totally match up with my values, and it consumes a lot of my time, and I didn't come out here solely just to teach. So I think maybe in 2019 I will maybe look for different outlets that I can work for, and possibly maybe teaching online or an international school, or I'm not sure entirely yet, but maybe a change.
Some ideas.
Yeah, a change in jobs. I just kind of need to sit down and evaluate everything. So that, and just dedicating, like I said, more time to my blog and yoga, and just being able to focus on things that I'm passionate about and being able to share that with other people.
Awesome, very cool. Yeah, I hope to see more from your blog, absolutely. Again, like I said, I really liked your voice, and a lot of time for writers, that's a hard part to get started, is because you just don't know how it's going to be perceived, and sometimes you just have to go for it. And a lot of times, like on certain calls that I speak to people that are interested in coming and teaching abroad, that they want to pursue other hobbies as well. Do you feel like you I know you said you work a lot, but do you feel like what amount of time are you able to dedicate to your hobbies now versus what you want to see different moving forward in the next, however many months?
Right now I have the weekends off, so I definitely have the weekends open to do whatever I would like. But moving forward, I would like to center maybe everyday life more around those hobbies, and to be able to also teach. So just finding a good balance between all of them is something that have struggled to do in 2018 that I would like to try to find in 2019.
Awesome. And spending more time with your yoga practice,
Yes.
things like that.
Yeah.
How many days a week do you do yoga now?
About 3 days a week I go to class,
Okay.
and then I do yoga at home as well.
Okay.
So, I mean, eventually I would like to be able to maybe, work on getting certification. So, like, maybe dedicating time to just taking a course while teaching in the evenings or online.
Okay.
And then possibly, getting income from that. But, that's in
Right.
a while. But
big goals.
yes.
Right? What's your
Completely attainable.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So, what else would you like to share with the people listening and watching about Vietnam in general, or your goals in life living here in general, that you feel would help people get over that hump of making that decision to take that leap?
I think that, if you're already thinking about possibly coming to live abroad or teach abroad, that you should just go for it. I think that there's no time like the present to come out and, experience new cultures in a different way of life. It doesn't always have to be what people paint it out to be, whereas you go to school and then you get find a house, you get a job, you get married, you have kids.
Right.
It doesn't have to be like that. And since coming out here, I feel like this is the happiest I've ever been, knowing
That's
that,
awesome.
I can
I love
follow
hearing
my
that.
passions, and being able to wake up every day and there's something new people. I feel like the opportunities are endless, and that I feel like there's something for everyone here in Vietnam, and that it's definitely a good place to live. And I feel like that, if you feel stagnant in the life you're living and you don't feel fully happy, that, coming abroad to live is definitely a good place to find yourself and to grow.
Absolutely.
So I definitely recommend it for everyone.
Yeah.
And then we talked a little bit earlier about something you would maybe like utilize as an exercise of caution. What would be the main thing you would tell somebody looking to go down this path, that you would say, I would maybe do this differently, or maybe you want to consider this before you make a final decision, or something like that?
After coming here and going through the course, I kind of felt like I needed to immediately settle down into a job and into a house, which, looking back now, I wish I would have done maybe a little bit differently. I feel like maybe some people feel a pressure to immediately, now I'm done with the course, now I have to find a job, because it's kind of unsettling not having money coming in. But looking back, I wish I would have spent more time maybe traveling and reviewing all my options before immediately settling down. Not that I'm unhappy with where I am now, it's just that I'm a little more restricted with my job now. So if I have less time to travel now, whereas I could have traveled a little bit first and then found a job and everything, I think I would have settled into a company right away, and maybe found one that more aligns with my values, rather than just immediately jumping into one because I needed a job, or so I thought.
Yeah. So you.
I think that's pretty common. I see it all the time where, of course, making money and being over here, living abroad, you have to have some type of income. For the most part, a lot of people are on that path, right? So it does feel very pressured, but there's so many opportunities here that you're not going to be missing one opportunity for another, which is what I feel like a lot of people think. And so people are looking for jobs like second week of the course, and I just want to kind of be like, chill.
Yeah.
Like, that's not necessary.
Yeah.
You need to focus on your studies. That's what's important right now, and I feel like it's hard to tell someone that until after the fact, where they've discovered it on their own. And that's a really hard thing to go through, because you see so many people do it every month, right? And now that you've experienced it, it's like, yes, just embrace what you're doing at the moment.
Yes.
And I know you probably you weren't necessarily looking for jobs like week 2, but a lot of people do. And I'm sure you saw people in your class doing that, right? So it's like, and people in my class did it. So it's common. But just like you're saying, it's like you just want them to focus on what they're doing at the time, which is really hard to tell somebody that.
And that's something that I kind of, learned while living here as well, is that you don't need to plan out your life,
Right.
every second of your life. You can just kind of go with the flow, and things happen as they come, and that's okay not to know what's going to happen, maybe tomorrow or a month or a year from now. I've kind of been okay with just not knowing, and I feel like the best things in life do come during the unexpected.
That's awesome.
So
That's awesome. So,
Rounding out, last question then. What do you feel like has been the most surprising change for you since you've been here? What has been the most, something that you thought how things were going to be that's completely different now from what your idea was of coming over here and what your life was going to be like?
The most surprising thing I feel like is just, I feel like the people, honestly, I didn't think anyone would be nearly as friendly as they were, and every day they surprise me of their kindness and how welcoming and friendly they are. It's truly a wonderful country, and I never felt, unsafe here or anything like that.
That's a really important point.
yeah, especially as traveling as a female.
Right, and a solo female, we get that a lot, and you and I talked about this before, is that it's such a safe feeling here. Do you feel unsafe walking down the street in the middle of the night?
No, not at all. I mean, in my hometown, probably, yes.
Right, exactly.
But here, no, definitely not.
Why do you think that is? Why do you feel that is?
I don't know, I just think it's the mentality of the people that, no one is trying to, they have no ill will against other people. I haven't really seen that here at all.
I've witnessed the same thing, which I think is amazing, and it's one thing I think that limits a lot of women from deciding to do this, because it is important for us to consider those things, without getting too political, right, or too platform, right? Though that is one thing that a solo female considers it in when you take up the decision to be a traveler, be a solo traveler, and uproot your life to a completely different country. Am I going to be safe? And there are certain countries that that we're deterred from because of that very scenario. And this is definitely not one that I've experienced to be one of them.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
That, and it's so refreshing. I didn't think I would meet so many like-minded people out here. I felt like, at home I kind of felt like maybe a black sheep. Like I said, I didn't really want the same things as everybody else right away, as, getting married, settling into a career, a house, all those things. And I felt like maybe at home it was looked down upon almost. And here I've found so many like-minded people who are exactly in the same boat I am. We're just trying to live day by day, and whatever happens, happens. And
That's awesome.
one adventure at a day.
One adventure per day, right? Yes. One adventure at a time. So very cool. Anything else that you want to add? We covered a lot.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I can be kind of grueling when it comes to questions. So go check out, I want everybody to go check out your blog, of course. And if there's any questions that anybody has about your experience, do you welcome comments on your blog?
Yeah, of
For
course,
questions and
definitely.
things like
I would
that?
love to help anyone who is
Okay, cool.
wanting to come abroad or teach English somewhere. Happy to help, because I know I had a million questions before I came. So.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I feel like it's more personable if it comes from an individual rather
Right.
than maybe a company. So.
Exactly.
So cool. Thank you so much for doing this. I know interviewing, like we said, it's both our first interviews, so fun, but also
a little nerve-wracking, right?
Yes.
So cheers.
Yes,
We had to have a beer.
and we got through it. So